The MAGA civil war is in full effect as they are still grappling with the fact that their own Department of Justice and FBI has said that there is no Epstein client list after Pam Bondi has said that it was on her desk. And now there are calls for her to resign. I also have Alex Jones, who is crying in his own car because of this revelation. And I also have right now Tara Palmieri, who has spent years investigating the Epstein case. And here's what she had to say about the veracity and the truth of what the Department of Justice and FBI said.
What do you make of just the release of this information that we're seeing in the last 24 hours? And then I'll get into all the other stuff.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Jim. So I don't believe everything that they're saying. And I did, investigate this story for 2 years. I worked with Julie K. Brown, who was the executive producer of my podcast, Broken, Jeffrey Epstein, and another one, Power the Maxwells. She wasn't the EP on the second one, but we dug into the actual files and we spoke to the girls who testified, who were witnesses, they were deposed. And there is a lot more evidence that the FBI has. If you look inside of the vault, you can all look at the Epstein files on the FBI's website, the vault. It will take you days and days. There's thousands and thousands of files. A lot of it is redacted. Yeah, so there's a lot that's redacted. There's a lot we don't know. And MAGA is right. They are right to want to have it released. Here's JD Vance asking for just that.
Everybody in politics has a vice that's much worse than alcoholism is the way that I put it. But we
release the list.
Seriously, we need to release the Epstein list. That is an important thing.
Well, nevertheless, Jesse Waters is in full effect trying to change the narrative. And I think they have found their new narrative around this. And they're saying now that the deep state destroyed the Epstein files.
I'm not blaming the FBI director, Kash Patel, or the deputy director, Dan Bongino. I think that layer beneath them, that's part of what we like to call the deep state, has taken this bull by the horns, and they've probably destroyed information. Look at what the CIA did in 1975 after Congress ordered that it release all of its files related to an operation called MK Ultra. The director of the CIA went back to headquarters and ordered everything to be destroyed. And in the end, only about 20% of the documents survived. We're still learning about the FBI's operations against Martin Luther King 55 years after the fact. So now we're supposed to believe that everybody's telling the truth, that there were no files, there were no dossiers. I'm sorry, I just don't buy it because I know how these people operate.
All right, I just can't, because who is the deep state? Is it not the director of the FBI? Is it not the attorney general? Donald Trump gutted the government in order to have people who are 100% loyal to him in it. So it doesn't make sense that the deep state would get rid of all of this stuff. I think truly what happened is either two things. Two things happened here. Is one, either there's no list, there never was a list, it was made up, it was this narrative that they ran away with because it got engagement and it fired their base up. That's one, and then they have to come clean and say there's no list so they can move on from it. Or two, maybe there's not a list, maybe there's never a client list, but there's a lot of documents that many powerful people are implicated by, including Donald Trump. Donald Trump, Kash Patel, Pam Bondi know that. And so the deep state, who are the president, the FBI director, and the attorney general of the United States, are choosing to not release that information to protect the president and his friends. You tell me which one you think is true, one or two. I'm going to go towards two. But MAGA is having a hard time dealing with this. And here is just one example. Matt Wallace said, I just saw the leaked Epstein files. Get ready for the world to change tomorrow. Just a few months ago. And then Matt Wallace says, why is the Trump administration pretending the Epstein client list doesn't exist? So Matt Wallace is like, hey, I saw this list. Where is it? And now they're trying to act like it doesn't exist. And Laura Loomer has been calling on Pam Bondi to resign, saying, I hope Trump realizes what an effing liar Pam Blondie is. She likes to call her Pam Blondie, which is pretty misogynistic, but let them fight. She said she's useless. covering for pedophiles and never arresting criminals. I don't know if Donald Trump is a pedophile, but he is implicated in this. And what does Laura Loomer do all day but protect Donald Trump? Laura Loomer also said, please join me in calling for Blondie to resign. How many more times is this woman going to get away with effing everything up before she is fired? I don't know. I mean, I actually do think this is going to result in Pam Bondi getting fired or being forced to resign. I think it's literally at that level of, for them, for MAGA, this is a huge scandal. I know this seems like silly and conspiratorial to all of us. I actually didn't even think there's any there until they released the statement saying that there was no client list and they were just trying to tie it up with a bow. And I was like, wait a second. Now I feel like there's something fishy going on, because why are they being so concrete about this when they were so sure about it before? And as I said, Alex Jones was crying and said he was going to throw up after learning about this cover up.
So I'm going to go throw up, actually. And this only happens every few years when something really, really bad happens or something. I mean, I'm physically going to puke probably right now. My mouth is watering right now. Because I have integrity. And, I just really need the Trump administration to succeed and to save this country, and they're doing so much good. And then for them to do something like this tears my guts out.
It just, I don't know what to tell them. I mean, who do you think you voted for? Who do you think you voted for? Here's another sign of the new narrative shaping. For all the people who hated Christopher Wray's FBI and spent years calling him a rotten, corrupt traitor, what do you think he did with any evidence that made the deep state look bad from November to January before Trump was sworn in? I don't understand what they think. How do they think this all works? Do they think there's just papers sitting around that they can just burn? We keep things in files on computers. And so and there's not a way for someone to just go delete. It just doesn't work like that. So what I just don't like, the level of disconnect from reality is insane to me. And they're doing mental gymnastics just to make themselves not have to finally come and reconcile with the fact that Donald Trump isn't the person they thought he was. And he never was that person, ever. And we knew that. I think my hope is maybe they're starting to clue in on it too. And I'll end with this, because Gunther Eagleman, who is a huge MAGA person, influencer, 1.4 million followers, simply asked, are we being lied to? Yeah, you have been lied to. You continue to be lied to. You've been lied to for a long time. I'm glad you're waking up to it. I welcome you to the other side if you feel as though the lies are too much and you want to do something about it. But until then, thank you all for being here. Please hit like, please subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.